So life in the Philippines, I learned something observing the way children behave. And I'm going to demonstrate the way the girls behave, like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 year old girl. When they see me, they go like this. And they give me like this dirty look. And then they run off. So again, they'll be doing their thing and then they look at me, be scrunch their eyes. And the boys are a little different. This is what the boys will do. They put their head down like they're ashamed. And like an ostrich putting its head in the sand. When I was in Colombia, the, the boys were a little bit unruly. I'm going to use the example at the zoo. They were always throwing rocks at the animals. The girls, I really don't remember, but I'd have to say the girls were just normal kids, not screaming or anything. In the Philippines, the kids yell and scream, and the parents don't say anything. You could be at a restaurant, you could be at the pharmacy, it could be the employees' kids. They just let them yell and scream, playing their cell phones really loud, running around, bumping into people. Parents say nothing. In the U.S., the parents don't want their kids going near a man. So the mothers will say, "Oh, stop bothering this man." Even if the kid's not bothering you, they make up a lie to make it sound like I'm bothered by a child, which I'm really not. In Peru was very different. In Peru, the kids were absolutely adorable. When they were like 2, 3, 4 years old, always smiling, really cute. As adults, not adorable. But as kids, most adorable kids I ever saw in the world was in Peru. And I realized, this is a sign of the way the population is. If the adult males in the Philippines are shy, I use the example, I did a museum tour and someone said, "Okay, let's go." And I said, "We're waiting for somebody else. Let's wait another half an hour." He was sitting next to us for like an hour and he was afraid to say that he joined the tour. And he followed us around the tour, didn't say anything. I got a message when I got home. They're so shy and socially inept, they cannot speak to other people. And the women are filled with hatred. I chat with them online. Every conversation is about how they hate men and about how I'm a bad person. I'm a liar, cheater, scammer, and I don't. Everything I'm wrong is the way it is. And they're all gold diggers. They think that they're entitled to money. They think that every date I'm supposed to be giving them money. And if you don't give them money, that's it. They're not dating anymore. So the women here are seriously messed up. In Colombia, I can't really say a lot about the adult men, but like I said, as kids at the zoo, they'd be throwing rocks at the animals. The kids weren't so bad. I think they had good morals, but there were a lot of criminals as adults. And the women would do things like steal cell phones, or they would lie and say, "Oh, someone stole my phone, like they took it out of my backpack or something," and I would have to buy them a new phone because it would be a company phone. But I know that they're lying because the week before they'd say, "Hey, can you buy me a phone?" It's like, "No, I'm sorry, you got the company phone, use the company phone." And then they would say that somebody stole it, and then I'd have to buy them a new one. And my attitude is there's no way that a competent person walks around with their bag open, and you should know better, and you should have paid for it. But they thought we're supposed to supply them with unlimited cell phones. I went on a date with a woman. They always, you meet a woman, it's always, "Oh, I lost my cell phone. I lost my cell phone charger. And if I don't have the charger, then I can't use the phone. I need a new phone." Always asking for new phones on the first date. And I use a little flip phone, and they would want whatever the most expensive latest model was. And I'd be like, "You don't need that phone. And I just met you once. I'm not going to buy it for you. I'm not a multi-billionaire. And if I bought you the expensive one and you accepted it as a gift, I would not date you because you're a gold digger." In Peru, I thought that the men were pretty cool. You know, they're not like they're not going to be Marines or Navy SEALs, but they were easy to talk to. They were always talking to me, and always a nice conversation. Although that did happen in Colombia a lot. Colombians are very friendly, and the women in Peru always gave me a nice smile. They were always like, like that, almost guaranteed. They never gave me a bad attitude in Peru. It was always like, when I would go on a date, they would be happy to be on a date with me. The only thing is that I didn't speak Spanish, and it was a little difficult. They didn't make it easy for me. And I would say that you can tell what the adults are going to be like based on the kids. When I was in high school in the United States, the boys just talked about sports and money, and the girls just talked about their skin and their clothing. And I was like, heaven help us if these people become leaders and lead our country. They're going to screw everything up. They didn't want to do their homework. Any assignment, like our lab assignments, a lab assignment means that you're doing an experiment. They didn't want to do it, and they would just do it wrong, and they'd be lazy about it. And if you're on my lab group, basically it meant I was going to do the assignment, and everyone else is just going to take my answers. Any group project, I was the one who did all the work. They just copy the answer, and that's it. And the boys just chat with the girls. No one ever says thank you for doing all the work. You never hear that. Checking my time. So I don't know what it's like in the United States anymore, but my recollection is a typical child. You'd see them in the grocery store, be yelling and screaming because they want some candy. The mother tells them no, drags them out. That's the way it was. They're a bunch of crybabies, is what I remember in the U.S. In Europe, I really don't remember what the kids were like. I guess maybe in the big cities, because like in New York City, you won't see any kids. And maybe in the big cities I was in Europe, like Venice and Madrid and Lisbon, I really don't have any memories of seeing kids or anything. So that's the way it is. The way the kids are will immediately give you an indicator of the way the adults are. It's not one-to-one, because obviously every generation is different, but you will get some kind of an idea what to expect. So, wow, I actually had a dream about this. I had a dream about, you want to know what the parents are like, look at what the kids are like. That's not exactly what the dream was, but I get it. I see the connection. The kids over here, I would say the girls, when I say the give me nasty, because I'm talking about like the really young ones, like 5 or 6 year olds or 3 year olds. Once they get to be like 12 or something like that, they usually smile, and the boys do, but the boys also, they just beg for money immediately with the hand out asking for money. Even at midnight, you go to the 7-Eleven at midnight, there's 10-year-old boys begging for money, claiming that they need food, and I saw them, they would always go in to buy candy bars and things like that with any money you give them. Just like the homeless beggars in Peru. Someone told me don't give them money, and I gave a guy money, and they go buy alcohol, and they just sit there drunk all the time off of tourists. They're tourist drunks. Okay, my video is running out, so have a nice day.